There's a lot of excitement around the crypto summit, which is going to be coming up tomorrow. This is Trump's crypto summit, where a lot of very important people are meeting to discuss the future of crypto. And the question is it being priced in right now as we currently speak? And if so, does this create any sort of a trade opportunity? Which way should you be trading it? Should you be looking to fade this pump, right? Should you be looking to short the sell the news event? Or is there still upside potential? We'll talk about that in today's show. We'll have a look at the various different charts, the various different coins, some of the, USA coins that could potentially pump. We'll have a look at the overall health of the crypto market. There are some major things that we absolutely have to look at, which I think a lot of people are not talking about, right? And I just want to outline what the overhead risks look like in terms of both the stock market as well as crypto. So again, smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. It's been a really challenging trade environment, right? A lot of chop, a lot of news events, and there are more that are coming up, right? So March the 7th, Crypto Summit. March the 12th, we have CPI, and March the 19th, FOMC. So trader's paradise. If you're a short-term trader, if you're a swing trader, you're going to get absolutely rinsed. And if you're an investor, well, you're probably not going to look back anyway for a few years. So let's continue, right? Volume is down, right? 24-hour volume. This shows you a lot of people are taking the sidelined approach, waiting to see what happens next, right? Which arguably may be the smartest approach that you can take, waiting for price to reclaim a couple of key levels. You can see in the last 24 hours, there hasn't been that many liquidations. What does this mean? It means it's a low liquidity environment, which means that it's quite easy to manipulate and move the price, right? And that's exactly what we saw over the course of the weekend, where let's call it again, another Trump pump, where Trump, of course, tweeted or he posted on his Truth Social network about those US coins and the crypto reserve, right? Not just a Bitcoin reserve, but a crypto reserve. Due to the low liquidity, that was able to catch price in a massive move, saving the weekly candle, right? And this is where all the conflict comes in, because we have a bearish looking monthly chart, which I'm going to show you in a moment. We do have bearish divergences also in place over there. We have the weekly, which has been marginally saved, which I guess if you're a longer term trader, you are looking at things like the weekly, but then we still have the daily timeframes in a downtrend, right? So what the hell do you do, right? This creates a lot of confusion within the markets, which is why there's so much divide about what happens next. You can always express your views in the poll section over here, right? Do you think that we'll pump into the Trump crypto summit tomorrow? So far, 65% of you voted yes. We're going to pump, 20% dump, and 15%, 16% now say flat and ranging, right? Flat and ranging. So you let me know in the comments. I'm monitoring the comment section over here. I have it on my screen on the other side. Let me know what you guys think comes next, right? So with that being said, prices can be manipulated, but there are some major things that we do need to look at. A lot of the smarter people than me that are economists and things like that are talking about how Trump may create a slowdown within the markets and slowly control prices towards the downside through this uncertainty, through the trade wars, and then set things up so that the rest of his at least presidential administration can go smoothly, right? Streamingly well, where he'll pick prices back up. So we are seeing that in the stock market, that there is a real possibility that you could go for a deeper correction. First and foremost, I do want to outline that we did look at the daily time frame yesterday. Let's just let that reset. Give me a second, guys. Sorry about that. I'm not too sure why that is slow there. There we go. Let's go back onto the daily. So we had a look at the daily yesterday, and we said, while you are coming into super key support, this is your 200-day moving average, which every time throughout this bull run has bounced price, right? If you look at the RSI is downtrending over here as well. So you have a bearish divergence on the daily time frame while price is making higher highs. The momentum, similar to crypto and Bitcoin, right, has completely disappeared. So although prices are floating up, the relative strength index is diminishing. And that shows you that ultimately you may go in for a deeper correction. Now, if you look on the daily time frame, you have already had a change of character, right? You've essentially broken into lower lows, and now we're waiting to see if there is any sort of a bounce. Is this going to lead to a lower high? When you look at the weekly scale, well, we see something very, very similar, right? This is also what Bitcoin and crypto looks like. If you look at that, your RSI is trending towards the downside, meaning you have a bearish divergence while price is going higher. But if the weekly starts to close below these levels where this wick low was, that would be also a break of structure and a change of character where you are starting to break towards the downside. And that becomes a major warning sign. You do have to take that super seriously, because the last time that we had that on the stock market was over here. And when we did have that, the stock market continued to dump, all the way down to those lows, was about 27% move. Now, no chance crypto survives in this environment, right? And this is why you need to decide what type of trader you want to be. Are you going to risk it for the biscuit, as they say? Or are you going to wait for higher prices and confirmations in terms of establishing a strong uptrend, regathering the momentum? So what you need to see from the stock market is this. You need to see this RSI trend up. You need to see this RSI break that downsloping trend line on both the weekly and the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, it would look something like that. Keep a close eye out on this, right? Understand that until that happens, if we have changed character over here in terms of creating a new swing low and we put in a lower high, and then you've got a full on reversal over here while the RSI is trending down and still respecting the rejections off of the trend line, that becomes quite a dangerous environment to be in, right? So I know not the picture of health and fitness that you're probably hoping for, but we'll take it one step at a time. There's your bearish divergence on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, price putting in high highs, RSI coming lower. We saw the same thing back in 2021, and we do match this. We can match this up with what the current sentiment is right now. The sentiment right now is that we're all going to sell the next pump, right? I'm sure you've all said that. Next pump, we out, right? We're all taking profits. Well, if everybody is going to take profits on the next pump, then maybe there won't be another pump. I don't want to be that bearish. I'm not at that point yet. I'm just taking one step at a time, thinking about the potential worst case scenarios. I can make the argument on both sides, and this is where the conflicting evidence and data comes in, right? We're seeing what is a relatively bullish candle formation over here. If this candle closes green on the weekly scale, that's going to be incredibly bullish, right, for the bulls. You can probably better see it on, where's our other chart over here? Let's go into this chart. If you look at this chart over here, this is your 21 weekly exponential moving average. And if this weekly candle closes green, that would have shown that absolutely there was a lot of bullish demand that came into the zone over here. And bull stepped up, defended price, even if it is via manipulation. Maybe Trump says something again and gets this candle to close green. As I mentioned, when this did happen on the previous week on Sunday, I said that, manipulation can always create a spark within the market, but it can't sustain enough demand, right? You need real demand to come in. So it can spark the demand that can create a snowball effect, like an avalanche, right? You throw a grenade on the top of a mountain, that's the spark. Snowball starts to form, and then next thing you know, you have a full-blown avalanche, right? That's absolutely possible. So this is where the conflict comes in, right? Your dailies are in a downtrend. Your monthly looks pretty bearish, which I'm going to get into in a moment. And your weekly is hanging on by an absolute thread. So caution must be warranted over here, right? What could save the day? Well, we've covered this a whole lot, and that is, of course, the DXY. We planned this breakdown in real time as it was coming into this zone over here. Looking for the deviation, we first identified that something major was happening when we started to print this lower high over here. We broke down over here, creating a new swing low, spiked up, creating a lower high over there, and consequently the breakdown is in full effect, right? Look at that full candle close over there. So this could be the one saving grace that brings new liquidity back into the crypto markets and hopefully gets things going. But it doesn't change the fact that the stock market has that bearish divergence. It doesn't change the fact that Bitcoin has the bearish divergence. And it also doesn't change the fact that we're continuing to see lower lows and lower highs on the 7-day exchange volume, which is also a form of a bearish divergence, right? So we'll get an update later on today. Last update was made, I think it's around US session on the 5th of March. So today, of course, being the 6th of March, I can only update this later on today. And what we're looking for is to see, is this turning down again? If it is turning down again, this lines up more or less with your daily downtrend, which is a pretty key point. Now, on the monthly, this is what you're contending with, right? This is why the stakes are very high, which also means that the emotions are very high, right? I can see it. I read it in the chat. I read it in the comments. I know the emotions are high, right? Because this is what we're seeing. The consequence of rejecting from these key levels on the daily could mean that the monthly is cooked, right? If the monthly rejects from this level and we start to turn red on the month of March, well, you could easily end up down there. it's a real possibility. It's going to start to look at that point really, really, really bad. Alternatively, if the monthly can start to push all the way up and close above, $100,000, then you can call this a massive shakeout, right? Shaking out the bears over here, getting them super, super bearish, ultimately to break back into the trading range. This is a high time frame swing failure where you recover all of this, and that means you're going much higher, right? Which means on a monthly scale, you would at least want to see the price action close above $100,000 to be super, super safe, right? So that's where we're contending with. Otherwise, this is, again, and that's why I put a question mark. We're not sure yet. Potential bearish retest with the stock market bearish divergence. If this starts to roll over, that will sign trouble with the Bitcoin bearish divergence over there, right? So if you look at the liquidity in the Whale Room Discord, which I've dropped over here, you can see that right now there's a lot of excitement leading into the Trump next pump, right? Potential next pump, the crypto summit. You can see the deltas are running from negative, slowly starting to turn up into the positive, showing you that longs are busy opening up right now. But most of the liquidity does remain on the downside, right? You can see over here in terms of liquidation levels, you have a lot of Bitcoin. This represents the number of Bitcoin in terms of liquidity at those low levels. So situated around that, $76,500 level, which actually would mean sweeping those lows. Remember, we went as low as, I believe, what was it, like $78,000. So below there is a lot of Bitcoin, 663, 354, 567. That puts it as, a lot. Tens of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin within that region. Here is your daily time frame, still the downtrend, coming into the range low, attempting to flip that right into support. So we'll see if it can close this as support. Multiple candles closing above here, and we see volume come into the market, which we haven't yet seen. Right here, we can look at the volume. Volume remains low. So you want to see that reclaim of the trading range on higher volume. Now, we haven't seen that yet, right? The volume is still relatively low. It's declining. Daily exchange volume is still coming down. So there is still work that needs to be done over here, right? But we've bounced off the 200, which is a good sign. So again, a little bit of no man's land in these current levels. We did outline, during this period over here when price was coming down, we said, if you're super aggressive, this would be the zone where you want to buy the dip, put your stop loss over there, but you have a high chance of getting stopped out. If you're a conservative, well, you simply just want to wait to reclaim these key levels over here, right? Reclaiming those key levels will simultaneously get you back above this zone over here on a monthly scale, and then you can look for continuation. So I understand there is really two sides over here. This is your 5-day time frame, so it's going to be a key level to get above. This is your midline, which is acting, if you can close multiple candles above here, that starts to look good as at least potential support and starts to increase the possibility that this was in fact a shakeout, right? Ultimately, if this candle closes red and it's a highly volatile week, I'll remind you why. We've got all of this stuff coming up, right? If this does end up turning red over here, well, you can see the lower boundary of this parallel channel lines up around that $68,000 to $72,000 region. We'll cross that road if and when it gets there, right? Again, I emphasize if and when. I don't know if it's going to happen. We need to take things one step at a time. But there's your high volume rejection, right? This is rejected price each of the time. So there's a lot of work to be done over here by the bulls, right? Currently attempting to get above the yearly open. The yearly open is really your safe zone. If you can get and hold above that, you break all these resistance levels, you start to change structure back towards the upside. It wouldn't change. Again, it wouldn't change the bearish divergence. The bearish divergence only gets negated when the RSI breaks that downsloping trend line. That goes for both the stock market as well as crypto, right? So it still becomes a sketchy long game in that environment. There's your 4-hour 200 EMA. Currently finding a little bit of resistance into that zone over there. And I have been tracking as well on the low time frames. Let's just quickly go on like the 5-minute over here and see what's happening. So you can see, longs building up into resistance over there. Look at that. Massive longs building up into resistance. Let's just extend that up. So there it is. Each time the funding rate got up into these regions, you did see a little bit of a flush, right? So open interest has been building, funding rate going positive over here, very, very positive. That shows you the buildup of the longs. That's for the super short or low time frame as you watch this in this area over here, right? So only time will tell. Stochastic RSIs are at the top. I guess it would make sense that you would see this stuff getting priced in, like a rally, a little bit of a push up, real FOMO and excitement leading into Friday, possible nothing burger on Friday, and then a sell the news. Probably, right? That's probably the most likely outcome. If you do want to learn more about this, guys, we just finished one of the most incredible, such a great cohort for Whale School. If you do want to join in, this is actually coming with a price now. From the next cohort, it's going to start to cost in the region of $2,000 to $3,000. They're busy pricing it right now. So if you do want to get in for free, this will be one of the last opportunities to get in for free. If you look at the link in the description below over here, it will say 𝗪𝗏𝗏, right? 𝗪𝗏𝗏 is a new trading exchange. They are giving you a 50% trading bonus. So if you do sign up to 𝗪𝗏𝗏, that user ID will qualify you to get into not only my crypto school, right? Any crypto school in the future with Crypto Banter will be entirely free before they put a price on it, right? Which means you have to basically sign up using that link over there. So for those of you that want to join, 18 days left for mine. There's, of course, the others. You can do any of the hosts or any of the partners' courses over there using this 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 link. All right. Let's continue. So BTC dominance continuing to rise, powerful, right? So still super strong. You have the 9 and 18 exponential rising towards the upside, bullish cross holding a support. And oftentimes, Bitcoin dominance tends to rise when it's a risk-off environment, right? So when people are too scared to play in the altcoin sector, and I guess part of the reason why is because of what's happening in the stock market pulling back. Now, I don't want to get bearish at support here on the stock market. I did outline as well yesterday that at the very least, even if you do drop it like this, it should lead into a bounce, right? Your question is, what happens at that bounce, right? Can you get into new highs, or is it going to set in a lower high? If it does set in a lower high, that's where trouble sets in, right? Then you can start to lead into a deeper and deeper correction. Probably still controlled when it comes to the stock market, like the other one was, pretty, orderly and controlled, right? Just systematic lower lows and lower highs. But this can lead into the bear market, right? This was essentially the crypto bear market, this period that led down. So food for thought over there. So we'll get into some of the altcoins. Bitcoin dominance is rising, but we can still look at the altcoins to see if there is any sort of a trade opportunity. I know that this is done at rounds all over crypto, Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. The US coins, right? So we can have a look at some of these. I know that Ran also went through all of these yesterday, going through his list. S list would be Bitcoin, of course, getting a strategic reserve for sure. And the question is there going to be anything around these, right? So we have Ethereum, Chainlink, we have ONDO, we have Solana, Uniswap, and Sui, right? As part of the top quality ones. These are the ones that may get a pump. So we'll have a look at some of these. This is, what is this? Cardano, HBAR, Litecoin, Trump Coin, and NEAR, I believe. I think that's NEAR, or is that XRP? I think this one, maybe this one's NEAR. That's NEAR, and this is XRP. They kind of almost have the same logos up there. So we'll have a look at some of these. If you look at this as well, this is like ones that had the ETF application made in the USA, mentioned by Trump, and blockchain projects which are attending this White House event. The one that ticks every single box is going to be these ones, right? XRP and Cardano. Hence they're on the thumbnail. So let's have a look at some of these and see if there is any validity or relevance to getting into these coins, right? So first and foremost, let's start off with, yours truly, Cardano, right in the middle of that list over there. So Cardano, we did speak about, you got this massive move towards the upside. We said target about 50% of this abnormally large candle. You should get a bit of a retrace into that zone over there. Look, I think if you are long at this point, you got your stop loss below the wick low that occurred on Tuesday. And, that's kind of what you're looking for. You want to see continuation beyond this. But this is range bound. At the end of the day, this is range bound. It is caught between this 83 cents and $1.15. So if you start to break and hold multiple candles above 115, then maybe I can start to get going. I would probably only look for real breakout trades. Let's just do a refresh over here. I'm not sure why this is getting caught up over here. So there we go. What I'd be looking for over here is a big move up above this $1.22. And then at the very least, you should see a bit of a throwback into support, right? So something like this. Let's grab our tool again. Looking for something like this. You can get a sneaky little long over here with your stop loss below there. If you pull back into 83, trade it from 83 up to 127. close the position, wait for the breakout, wait for the throwback down into the prior range high. And if you get that, then you can re-enter into the long and you can look for a further breakout, right? So there has been high volume here. Absolutely. There's definitely some form of interest. Could it run? I do think Cardano could run, right? If the market does actually pick up, this could be one of the coins that does run. Next one to have a look at is going to, of course, be XRP. So let's have a look at XRP, and we'll check this chart over here. There we go. So currently range bound, you do have a measured move that would take this up to about $4 if this does get the actual breakout. Look, it's had a huge move already, came all the way back down, refilled it. It's super, super choppy. Personally, I think I would wait for this. If I'm just simply looking for a trade opportunity, I'd wait for clearance above $2.87 before getting too excited for a move up over there, right? So that is XRP. We can look at the health of some of these other coins. We know that, ETH hasn't done very well. We'll have a look at Chainlink. So let's quickly go to ETH. Where's ETH at in this list? There it is, right? So ETH all the way back down to the bottom of the trading range. Of course, the obvious place to put your stop losses below that wick low that occurred on Monday the 3rd, but it's still a downtrend. At the end of the day, this is a downtrending move. You would need to break back above this to actually get going. This is just a grid, so I'm going to clean that up over there. There it is, all the way back down to range low. If it can hold above the top side of the trading range, stop loss below here, you can trade this back up to 3,000. But again, if Bitcoin turns down, you would expect that this is going to go way lower. And if it does break down, you're looking at 1755. So taking out this low over here will inevitably send price down to 1755. So in terms of a trade for ETH, anything, if you get something like this, if you get a bit of a sell the news event and it rolls over, that would be where you're looking to pick up ETH, stop loss below, get cautious over here. Understand this is still a downtrend. If you can break this, inevitably move up to this zone, hold back above here, and you can target back to the range high. Okay, that is ETH. So not a great trade setup over there, in my opinion. Let's look at Chainlink, the overall health of Chainlink. I think this one last we looked at was bearish, so I'm pretty sure nothing has changed over here on Chainlink, right? There's Chainlink. It's getting a bit of a move right now, obviously leading up to this conference. I wouldn't get too excited. In fact, I would actually look for a short trade if it did get into this 19.1. So push up into 19.1. I'll look for weakness into Friday as a sell the news event. And then I'd actually open up a short trade where you could probably short this all the way back down, something like this. There we go. So let's just quickly line that up. There we go. Short trade. Of course, look for the swing failure pattern and failure at 19.16. And then you can probably short this back down to the range quarterly, which is where the current lows are at about 14. If it takes out that low, well, then you're looking at a move all the way down to about 8.90. So that is for Chainlink. All right. Next up on the list, we have ONDO, real world asset sector. So where is ONDO? Let's quickly have a look at ONDO over here. There we go. ONDO, there it is. Also, strong downtrend, right? I mean, what else can you say, guys? You need a lot more time to start to break this, right? You need to see a big move up. And at the end of the day, you still have to come down lower to create a high low. So I don't have any comments on this. There's no trade over here, no long, no short. You found a little bit of horizontal resistance over there. You, of course, have this trend line. ONDO, I would skip that. There's no opportunity. Solana, I know this chart pretty well. We're still looking for a possible move all the way down into, possibly even 110, 100. If Bitcoin gets a bearish rejection and this rolls over, so you might see something like this, right? Then you're looking for that kind of a move. The reclaim of this 123, you want to see that swept, right? At least I want to see a sweep of all of this liquidity. There's a lot of liquidity over here. So I'd want to see more of that liquidity taken before I get too excited on Solana. Uniswap, I mean, I can almost tell you straight away this thing is going to be a write-off. But let's have a look. I haven't looked at this chart forever, and I'm pretty sure it looks absolutely terrible. Let's see. There we go. And yes, it looks absolutely terrible. Look at that. That was your previous all-time high. Comes all the way down. You are at mid-range support right now, but this is a very, very, very strong downtrend. So I wouldn't get my hopes up. Any bounces that occur from here are selling opportunities, in my opinion. Even if you see this, I'd start to look to short this all the way back down to the bottom of the range lows. Okay, so there are still trades, right? You just have to invert your charts and look in the other direction. And then we got 𝗬𝗓. How's 𝗬𝗓 looking? So 𝗬𝗓 I still think will be a top contender for the long run, especially if Bitcoin does confirm a bottom. We pretty much came all the way down to the target level, right? So one target level that we had was 220. If we do put in a lower high over here, so if there is a bit of excitement leading into tomorrow and you see a lower high forming over here, any sort of rejection over there, that is your next lower high. You could theoretically open up a short trade and trade it at least back down to this level, maybe put in a double bottom. If it fails over there with another lower high, the major low that I'll be looking at is still 190. It's the same story as yesterday, right? Okay. So that is what I'll be looking at over there. That is 𝗬𝗓. We can have a look at HBAR. We can have a look at Litecoin. So let's quickly go to HBAR. Anything interesting on HBAR? Just a quick scan through. You know, this is like the first time I'm looking at these charts over here. You know, this has lost the range, right? New swing lows, rejecting into the underside resistance. It looks bearish. Same thing for me. Nothing's changed over there. Litecoin. Let's have a look at Litecoin. LTC. Okay. USDT. There we go. Litecoin. Okay. Straight into resistance. I haven't bought this chart up as well forever. It's been ages, but there is your supply zone, right? So pretty much, you know, grinding into resistance. You can't long it over here. There's absolutely no point. The time to long it was off of the bottom of the trend line as you're putting in high lows. Believe it or not, this chart actually looks better than Ethereum, which is absolutely horrific to say something like that, but it's the truth. So for Litecoin, I would only get interested in long trades if this can start to break and hold above these wicks, right? I would need to see multiple closing candles above there. If it can do that successfully, you know, now you can start to target up towards these prior highs at about 243. So I think that excitement will fade pretty quick. We can look at the Trump coin. I think any bounce on this is an easy short. So you can pretty much just short this. Remember what the market cap of Trump coin is. It means that there is absolutely massive amounts of liquidity to still be drained from this thing, right? So it's worth billions and billions of dollars. Any excitement that comes into this and spikes towards the upside, if I saw something like that, I will immediately short this, right? I would expect over time this is just going to bleed out pretty much to zero. Okay, I know not maybe what your up-only fans want to hear, but that's the truth. And then, okay, we covered that already. We covered XRP. So those are the altcoins, right? Very few things look good. The only thing I could really give the benefit of the doubt to is maybe Bitcoin, right? And we've outlined the risks over here. There are definite risks. What I wouldn't be surprised to see is a sweep of the liquidity, right? So on the hourly time frame for Bitcoin, you can see this range, right? So just be careful of this as FOMO builds, as we watch FOMO building, you know, you could see something like this, right? A big spike up above $96,000 because this was all a fake artificial pump. So if you kind of ignore this pump and you focus on where the last real liquidity was, it was over here, where the X is. So you might see a big move up, sweep that liquidity. Now the trade gets triggered on the short side if you sweep that liquidity and you break back into the trading range, right? So I'd be looking for something like that, at which point, you know, you have this quite a steep trend line over here with a lot of pent-up liquidity, and then you would expect a breakdown. You can take it level to level, mid-range, 86,000, maybe find some support over there, 78 range lows, maybe a double bottom. If you lose that and hold underneath that, well, ultimately look down towards your next major targets. Okay, so that spike will happen Friday night. Maybe, yes, Gavin, maybe. We'll see what happens. It's, yeah, a lot of volatility in the market, a lot of very high emotions. Remember, for any coin that you want to hold long term, I also recommend, you know, you have to look at the BTC pair. So go and have a look at that altcoin against Bitcoin. Let's do a refresh over here. Let's go to altcoins. You know, Sol BTC not looking so hot anymore, right? Bearish retest into the underside resistance. Moving averages have crossed bearish. They're going to act as resistance with every bounce into that level. And that's not looking good, right? Litecoin BTC is one that's kind of turning the corner over here. XRP BTC, you know, it's been extended. Let's see. Maybe it can hold this range over here. Any move down to 2191, maybe that holds a support. SUI BTC starting to roll over. You do have mid-range support at 2490. So that's the mid-range. Let's see what else. What else have we got over here that we just looked at? Let's see. Okay, ONDO. There's ONDO. Okay, ONDO, BTC, you know, just chopping about, your major range low support is going to be this 0.00001, right? That's going to be the key level. Mantra, BTC, let's see, potentially, I mean, it hasn't broken structure yet. If it starts to break below these levels, you know, that's a warning sign that maybe the Manta or OM train has ended, right? Watch for the bounce. It will bounce. If you put in the lower high, that could be the time to reposition back into Bitcoin from Mantra. This is something we got into very, very early. So it was definitely a phenomenal trade. Okay. BONK BTC getting crushed, right? Can have a look at all of these different coins. Superfarm BTC getting crushed, right? Straight down. It's probably going to bleed all the way to those lows. Ape BTC. This is what ApeCoin looks like against BTC. What was once a promise of many riches is now the promise of poverty. Straight down. Absolute wreckage, right? Yeah, let's see. Let's have a look at Link. Do I have Link BTC over here? Yeah, we do. We have Link BTC. Okay, so I mean, also not looking good, right? Link BTC, it's already had the rejection, bearish crosses over here. This is probably ultimately going to roll over into these range lows. Over time, most of these altcoins they just continue to bleed, right? You have to look at these. This is just macro lower high after lower high with macro lower low after lower low. And even if you get a spike like that, you know, in a couple of weeks or months' time, it's all the way back down here. So altcoins you want to hold for short amounts of time, right? And then rotate those profits from the altcoin back into BTC. And then you can hold BTC for the long term, or even build a USDT bag, right? So when there's big scares and dumps, similar to now, yeah, then it creates an opportunity where you can start to build up a bit more of a position. So Link isn't even invited to the summit. I believe that their founder is 𝗪𝗔𝗍 what? I forgot his name. His last name. He is. He's going to be talking at the summit. So Link will be there. All right. AI16Z does not look good. I can tell you 0. We can have a look at it. But I looked at a lot of the charts this morning on the monthly time frame. And I recommend you do that in your own time as well. Just go and have a look on the monthly time frame, and you know, you'll get some valuable information over there. But there it is, right? AI16Z is all the way at the lows. You know, could you get a short-term bounce from here? Absolutely. But ultimately, I would expect this to just continue to mark down. Okay, so there's your daily. There's your daily over there. This is a pretty key level. But, you know, again, I think it's probably just going to break through this level and just continue to mark down. If we go on a lower time frame like the 8-hour, it's actually starting to look like a descending triangle over here, right? So there it is. Yes, maybe you get a little bit of a bounce like this. And there we go. A little bit of a bounce. Come back here. Descending triangle, measured move. This would drop it pretty much to 0, right? They're just going to bleed out, right? Lower lows, lower highs. Well, this has got lower highs, equal lows. Touch point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth time, it's probably going to breach through this. Okay. What else? What else, guys? Okay, just checking the comments, everyone. So let's see. Okay. Cardano. We've done Cardano. View on Goku. My view on Goku is that if the market bounces, this will do super well. I still have all my Goku, right? It's like pretty much one of the only meme coins that I am still holding. So when I get a generational entry on something, I just hold. Okay, I mean, what's my worst downside is I lose the initials, which were small amounts that I put in at the exact bottom. So it would mean either Goku goes to 0 and then I don't make any money, or I make a lot of money. Okay, 𝗪𝗓𝗓. 𝗪𝗓𝗓 was actually one that on the higher time frames I saw, and I thought, you know, it doesn't look too bad. So we can have a look at 𝗪𝗓𝗓 USDT. Let's pull that up. There it is. Okay. So 𝗪𝗓𝗓, I mean, you see it's been attempting to like reaccumulate. Yes, it's had lower lows and lower highs in the shorter term over here, but it did put in a big move. So if it can start to flip this level, basically I'd want to see support found right about here. If 𝗪𝗓𝗓 does start to turn back over, let's go on the 4-hour time frame. So if 𝗬𝗏 does start to turn back over here, this is pretty much your invalidation, right? Nice high volume over there that came in. So if it comes down over here, you want to see a high-low form. If a high-low forms, there could be an opportunity over there for continuation, right, for a bigger move. On the high time frames, it was one of the few charts that looked okay. Near, sure. Let's have a look at near. Okay, let's first see the daily. So it is at a support level. It's grinding into the zone, $3. Let's double check on the lower time frames over here. I mean, this is still a new swing low. So yeah, it's got a bit of work to do. Like, I think it will probably get going if you can break this range high, right? So you want to see a convincing break of that range high and then some sort of a throwback. So I don't know, like, remember what I spoke about yesterday? I said that you can always try and buy something as close to the bottom as possible. But what you have to understand is the frequency at which you're going to get stopped out or be wrong is very, very high. Or alternatively, you can wait for the breakout, which means, yes, you buy higher and you wait for the throwback into support to create a high low. But then your chances of being wrong, the frequency of being wrong is less, which means that you catch the move, right? But yes, you're buying higher, which means also your risk is all the way down here in terms of getting stopped out still. So you have a much bigger space or area that you could be wrong in. So those are the things that you need to ask yourself. But right now, still, altcoins don't look so great to me. You need to see Bitcoin clear some of these levels, right? These are the risks at hand, right? Is the things like the monthly. So altcoins have been smashed, right? If this candle starts to turn red again, which is a long month ahead of us, then this could easily come all the way down here. That's going to absolutely kill things. All right, cool, guys. If you do want to learn more, again, whale school's there. Jump in, learn how to trade like a whale in 10 days. You got Bank as well. That is your ticket into not just my school, but every single crypto school for free. Otherwise, there is going to be a fee. All the links are down below. Claim your sign-up bonus here as well. They are giving you 100% cash back on every trade that you take, which is absolutely insane for 25 days. So I'll see all of you on the next one. I do hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, everyone, and we will catch you soon. Cheers for now.